realized that the only way there's any light at all is if it was coming from the actual out-of-body experience, I'm dead.
Hi, and welcome to the show. Today I have a special guest, Samantha, and Samantha has actually experienced an NDE. And if you don't know what that is, it's the shortened term for near-death experience. They're becoming a lot more talked about and a lot more acceptable in society. So today we have Samantha. Samantha, how are you?
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. I really appreciate you coming on and you taking some time here with us. So before we jump right into the experience itself, um, well, first off, how many years ago did this happen to you?
Oh man, this was literally back in May, so I think it's been literally 3 months and a day today.
Wow. So this just that's incredible. Okay.
Yeah, it's like fresh
So
in my mind.
yeah, I'll say. So so what was your life like a little bit? Just a brief synopsis of before this happened to you, like your day to day, pretty average.
I'm Right now I'm just a housewife, so it's just happened. We've been able to get by with just my partner's income. So
Okay.
uh
Okay.
day to day is just, chores, taking care of the house, etc. Take care of the animals.
Okay.
Crochet, I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's the typical American life, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess let's just delve right into it. So this just happened in May of 2024. So start me off on that day. Like what happened? What were you doing?
Well, actually, it goes back a little bit. Throughout my entire life, and it's gonna get a little dark, just a FYI.
No, that's
Um,
okay. I think people need to know that everything isn't. What I say about awakening is it's not all unicorns and rainbows. There's a lot of crap you got to go through too. So,
yeah. Well, I've had these questions my entire life. I'm sure like vast majority do, like is there an afterlife and what happens when we die and what's it like to experience death, you know?
hmm.
And also I like see things that other people don't. Um, I've been tested. It's not hallucinations, so it's not that. But I
Okay.
do see things other people don't, and I've always questioned is like, why don't other people see these things too, you know? So
Really?
that was like
Okay. So
another question.
when did that happen? When did you start realizing you could see things that other people weren't?
I've had it my entire life.
Your
And I
entire
didn't start
life.
opening up until I was like 9 years old, and then people were like, "Wait, what are you even talking about?" My
Wow.
mom just assumed they were like imaginary friends. I was like, no,
Yeah.
they're not. They're real.
Okay. So, what kind of things? Could you give me some examples?
They're like these sparkly beans. One of them's my guide. I call him Alan. Um, I'm I wouldn't say I'm really like spiritual or religious, and
Hmm.
it's just that it's just what happens, It's just what my life, is my experience, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, I see these like sparkly invisible beans, and it's like have you ever heard of visual snow?
Yes.
It's almost like this consistent static almost, but it's like
Hmm.
three-dimensional. Like I'm seeing like almost like atoms, like I know it's like impossible, but it's like I'm seeing like
No.
three-dimensional like little specks of like light like sparkling around all the time. And when the spirits are there, it's like they the energy sort of condenses where
Wow.
they're at.
Yeah. I know. I actually know what you're talking about. I have had brief episodes of that where I could see almost like everything gets pixelated. It almost looks like yeah, like a television set, like old school TV with the pixels.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like sort of solidify out of it, but I have seen that, and I've actually heard and talked to people that literally like they just see them all the time, like that, like everything's pixelated, like they're and it's supposed to look very flat.
like normally you're supposed to see it like better at night, but I see it like day and night. It's like this is how I experience my reality. It's like 24/7 and like atoms flying around.
Wow, that's really incredible. So, like how do they speak to you? Is it like telepathic?
Sometimes telepathic, mostly I hear them like a regular conversation like we are now.
Okay, so like with the being, they move their mouth, or I guess is what I'm asking. Like, do you hear it like audibly, as if they're literally like me and you are talking right now, or is it more like
Yeah,
you
like
know what?
audibly,
Oh
like
wow, that's
like how we're
amazing.
talking right now. Except that they don't really have like the human vocal cords, like the ranges we have. It sounds more like
Okay.
they're whispering mostly.
Oh wow. Okay. So did they ever? Okay, so you have a guide, and you said it's Alex.
Alan.
Alan, I'm sorry, Alan. And then did they ever share like what they are? Are they angels? I hear the alien thing a lot. Did they ever say like what they are or where they come from?
I've just assumed, I guess. They never really talk much about that. They're mostly just comforting.
Oh wow, okay. So you sort of assumed they're like angelic.
I wouldn't say angelic. I just assume they're like, I mean, when I tell you my near-death experience, it'll make more sense.
Okay.
But they're just like spirits, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Uh Alrighty. So you've experienced this your entire life. How's your family treated you with this? Are they pretty understanding, or has it been more difficult?
Oh man, like I have gone through the mental health system through this. Like everyone, like I've literally like stopped talking about it altogether because like
Wow.
you literally can't say anything that's like spiritually related or anything that's like
Hmm.
beyond what humans are supposed to experience, without anyone like trying to throw a diagnosis on you.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately that's where we are still. And I'm hoping things like this change the perceptive. So it was not an easy ride.
No.
I'm sorry to hear that actually. I can almost hear the pain in your voice of everything that you've gone through. Okay, so you have that going on, and then so what happens next? So what happened that, you know, tell me about the experience.
Well, I paid the price to get those answers, and they were bothering me like forever, okay? Like this is like the past like 28 years of like thinking of this, like I need
Mm-hmm.
these answers like so bad. And I don't recommend it. The price is way too high. I like
Mm-hmm.
traumatized so many people in the process of it, but I committed suicide
Oh
and
my God.
yeah. But when I was laying there dying, um it's like it wasn't actually terrifying. It wasn't exactly like you know you know how they always depict it like when you have like an out of body experience, they show like this body actually coming from you,
Mm-hmm.
and
Like
like
the
it's like
spirit
looking
leaving
down.
your physical. Yeah. Yeah.
That was my expectation when I was laying there like waiting to die. And so I was thinking like, okay, I'm gonna leave this body, I'm gonna look down, I'm gonna see what's going on around me. Absolutely nothing like that. In fact, turns out we don't even have bodies at all.
Really?
No. When I forced myself to sleep because I still had like another hour to go, like in my death process. And I just remember I was suddenly like I was moving towards something, and that was like the first thing I became aware of was this movement. Like I was like moving somehow, like
You were
against my,
moving.
yeah. I was like I felt this like movement, like I was like it's so hard to describe. It's like you can't really control it. It's like um you just have to just go with it. It's like you're on a boat on a river and you're just going down it and there's just, you just go with it.
Okay.
And
Now,
that's
did
what
you
I felt.
see anything when this was happening? I mean, I know you said you felt the movement, but were there any visuals there?
Not yet. It
Okay.
took a moment for me to suddenly become conscious of like what was happening. The first thing I noticed was like this really, it was like a black wall shaped like a tunnel, and it was like the darkest darkness of you can ever think of. It's like probably even darker than space. It was just that black,
Wow.
like ink almost black. But I was aware of the shimmeriness on it, and it confused me. I was like, how can I see this blackness, this
Yeah.
darkness around me? It was just this shimmering effect. And I looked towards one end, the end that I was like going towards with this tunnel, there was no light there. And then I looked back where I was coming from, there was no light there either. And
So
then
you were
I
in a
looked,
black, empty void, basically.
yeah, but I was like in this really dark tunnel, and I realized that the only way there's any light at all is if it was coming from me. And I
Whoa.
realized then, oh, okay, so this is an actual out of body experience. I'm dead. I'm not even in a body anymore. I'm not a body. Like it's like I don't know. Have you ever had like a dream where have you ever like dreamt of yourself like not in a body? I feel like
You know what? It's unusual because I never really think about it. I guess there's always the assumption there's a body there, but I kind of get what you're saying, though.
yeah, it's like the brain has only ever existed like here on Earth. It's like of course it can't make up dreams of being outside of itself.
Yes, that's a great point.
So yeah, it's like I literally had no body. I was just light. That's all I was.
Wow.
I was
So
like
did
this
you like look
conscious
down
light.
at yourself and just see nothing but light? Like you look down and there's no hands, there's no feet.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was like, but I don't know. It's like the closer I got to down the tunnel, it's like I started to become like I could only describe the feeling like I was like ancient almost. It's definitely like since I've been back on Earth, um, I'm like back in like my regular like ways and stuff like that. My brain's like trying to suppress it and all.
Hmm.
But it's like when I was just that light, it's like I've been that way probably forever. I don't know. I just felt so ancient then. Like I just knew. I just knew exactly what was going on. I knew what I was. I was just like all of that was just completely normal. I wasn't even scared.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah.
So 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 were you the only light source? Or was there like because you hear it's almost contrived at this point, but the blackness and then there's always like the light and everybody goes towards the light and the light gets brighter. And did you have anything? So it sounds sort of like that, only you were the light, right?
Yeah. The thing is, I'm pretty sure if I'd kept going down the tunnel, I would have
Uh-huh.
hit the light. Like that was like what I knew would happen. It's like almost
Whoa.
like this gradient effect would happen. It's not like it's not like the darkness is like all there is. It's like the darkness will eventually like it'll get like a lighter gray and a lighter gray, a little gray, and then boom the light, and then you're in wherever you are. Like that
Wow.
was my understanding. It's like if I kept going, I'd get to see it. But I stopped and I looked back, and I had to
Okay.
make a decision.
So when you looked back, what did you see?
So when I first woke up, I described it like I was in outer space looking into a microscope at my body, like in the hospital bed hooked up to the ventilator.
Okay.
And it actually really wasn't like that. It was more like I was seeing like a vision. It was like almost like holographic, almost, like a very, very clear vision. But
Hmm.
I didn't know at the time when I was in that tunnel that that was actually the future that I saw. like
Oh,
my
so the
future.
okay, so you in the hospital bed wasn't actually happening. It was a vision of
Not
the
yet.
future. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
I was actually being put into the ambulance when I was having the experience, and that was when I flatlined.
Oh my.
I came back to my body literally as they got my heart back up.
Okay, so
Um,
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, so when you were being taken into the ambulance, you weren't even aware. Like some people say they see themselves getting loaded into the ambulance, or where. So you weren't even your consciousness was not at your body; it was elsewhere at that point.
yeah.
Wow.
It's I knew that I was being rescued. That's about the
Hmm.
extent of what I knew. And then I saw that and I was like, I had to make a decision. And um, it was like the choice was, do I continue being this,
This
in this
human.
time, in this era, this
Hmm.
story with these people in my life? Or do I, continue going on? And, the whole reincarnation stuff, I was like, whatever, who I didn't really take the whole like this is like seriously the end, But it's
Yes.
like it's the end of this life, in
Yes.
this time,
Yes.
And when I realized that, I was like, all I had to do was think I made a mistake, and it was like a snap of finger. I was suddenly trying to push myself back into my body in that ambulance.
Wow.
And
So
I ended up experiencing the vision of the future that I saw in the body, in the hospital bed, hooked up to the ventilation. Like I was consciously aware of everything that was going on while I was unconscious.
that's incredible. So, let me go back. So were you still you were still in this tunnel when you suddenly realized like this is final. Like if I keep going, I can't come back.
Yeah.
So you're you realize you're late and everything, um and then the thought of returning back actually became more real, I guess, as a possibility.
Yeah.
So, okay, so then you did. So what do you know why? I mean, you don't have to answer if it's too personal, but do you know why um you wanted to come back? Like what was it? Did you feel like you had unfinished business to get to do here, or you had more to do, or was it family members or
I saw my mom, my boyfriend next to me, um, in the hospital bed, and I was thinking like what would happen to my body if I did keep going? Like would that like be my death? Like how would they cope with that,
Mhm.
I was like the way I left just wasn't didn't sit right with me. And that's what I meant by when I said that was a mistake. I made a
Yes,
mistake. I should not have tried to kill myself. It's like absolutely devastating. I mean, I traumatized them.
I
My
can
boyfriend was the
only.
one who pulled me out of the car. I mean,
Oh
yeah,
my God. I can't
absolutely
even
terrible.
imagine having to do that. Oh wow. Well, I, for one, am glad that you're back.
Yeah,
And yeah, we all serve a purpose here, And but I get it. Like I've never tried, but boy, have I been low and thought about it. I mean,
it's
we
not worth it. It's not worth the price.
yeah.
The
It's
pretty
it's
steep one.
it's interesting. So what else did you experience there? I mean, did you hear any voices, or was your spirit guide there?
Well, I did feel a presence. Um, I wasn't really thinking too much on it. It was more just a feeling.
Hmm.
Um, and it was like from behind me when I was like looking back at this vision that I was seeing, um, like where I was coming from.
Hmm.
Um, I did say that when I woke up, I was saying that the closer I got down the tunnel, I didn't just also feel like kind of ancient, I also like felt this. like connection, sort of like this. I mean, I said it was like the creator. I was like I was about to become one with it, you know. Um,
Mm.
I was
Was it that
just
overwhelming sense of love?
yeah, it was just like the absolute peace, like the most peace and love you could ever think of, just the absence of any negativity.
That
I,
that is incredible.
I mean, I don't know how I was able to say no to that.
Yeah. So
But my
yeah,
family
it's
here were more important.
that's great. And I'm sure they are thrilled and just so happy to have you back. But I can imagine, as you said, the trauma wasn't so much from the experience, I guess. It was just the after effects of that, after you coming back and the trauma and everything, I can imagine.
Yeah, and trying to fight yourself back alive is not fun either.
Oh, really? Can you tell me about that? Like
Oh
what was
yeah.
that like?
Well, the first thing I became aware of was when I was trying to push myself back in my body was
Hmm.
I felt them put the uh whatever that tube is called where they put
Oh, the
in
ventilation
your
tube.
no, not ventilation tube. They didn't put me on that just yet. There was
Okay.
I can't really think of the name of it, but they were doing some sort of medical procedure on me in the ambulance before they decided to transport me.
Okay.
And then I was aware I was being transported. And inside of myself, it's like there was just this absence of time. I was just aware of like everything outside of me was like going by like super fast. And I don't know, I was like really weird by that. It was just, it was like for me, it felt like seconds, but around me, it felt like it kind of sounded like hours were passing by. And
Whoa.
before I knew it, I was in the hospital bed, hooked up to the ventilation. I could feel the ventilator in my throat. I was like, um, I couldn't really do much about it. And I could feel it like pumping my lungs. And I was like, do I even need to breathe? So I just stopped focusing on trying to breathe because, like, well, I mean, they're pumping my lungs anyway. And my my partner was there, and then my sister was there, and the next moment my aunt was there. It's like everyone just all I had to do was like wait a second, and it's like hours passed by, and another person showed up, and these people live far away too.
Wow. So it felt like seconds to you, but in real
Yeah.
life, it was hours that were passing.
Oh yeah. I was on that ventilation for 24 hours, and I think I was only sedated for maybe like half of that. I have no idea. Um, but I remember like they were holding my hand, like asking me to just like squeeze their hand to like show them that I was like trying to fight to come back
Uh-huh.
and try. I described it as like trying to animate a corpse is what it felt like.
Whoa.
Like it literally took so much willpower to try to move my hands just to tell them, you know, because I couldn't open
Yes.
my eyes to see them. I couldn't even like
Yes.
do anything. All I had to do was just like I was like, just come on, Sam, just do it, just do it. I was like, and I eventually did, and they were all like flipping out, like, "Oh, she's coming back alive. She's all right."
So when this was going on, I mean, so where was your consciousness when you were like trying, were you back in your body at this point, just trying to work your body, or were you still sort of partially on the other side?
I felt myself kind of like in my like head area. Um, I wasn't like totally like inside myself.
So you
Like
were like
it took a
half in, half out.
I mean, I literally, it felt like I literally had to push. I had to push myself in. I was like pushing myself back into consciousness in this thing. And it's like there would be these points where I'd stop and I'd be thinking like, you know, I don't have to wake up. You know, if I want to, I could just remain in a coma for a while if I need to, you know, like
Mm.
take your time. But everyone around me, I was like, I just want to open my eyes and see them so bad. So I just kept pushing. I
Wow.
pushed and pushed and pushed, and I could feel like my head was like absolutely freaking hurting how they positioned it with the ventilator in my mouth. And I was like, just, come on, just try to wake up, try to get out of this. I saw like the doctor like open my eyes, flashing it. Couldn't even move my own eyeballs. I just like I couldn't even tell anybody that I was there still, you know? Like all I had
Right.
to do was I was just doing whatever I could, just move that body however I can to let them know I was alive because I was unconscious, you know? It's this absolutely bizarre experience. But man,
So could you
yeah,
see them when you were doing this and you were fighting and trying to move your fingers and things like that? Could you see them somehow or just sort of felt their presence of your family, I mean?
I only felt their presence. Like I'm sure if I was like outside of my body, but since I was mostly like in,
Mhm.
I was like, you know, I had my eyes closed and it was just darkness.
Wow. Incredible.
You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, at this point, with like the two of us talking here, you have to realize how incredibly powerful you are. I mean, I know you must have obviously doubted yourself in the past, but you just sort of did like superhuman and your willpower is just must be off the charts for this to happen. So do you feel a little differently about yourself now? I hope so.
Oh yeah, I do believe there's a before and after.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, boy, you talk about a fighter. You sounded like Rocky in there. So, okay. So how long were you in this state, like of not being able to move, yet still sort of sensing presence?
Well, I I heard the doctor say at one point they were going to sedate me since I was trying to pull my breathing tube out.
Mm,
And I knew like every time that I've been sedated, like you lose so much time. Like it doesn't matter like how much you are in your body at that point. It's like you're just completely blank. It's like you're going from like a couple hours to like several hours when you wake up from sedation. Like that
yes.
stuff like it wipes your memory. It
It
really
does.
does.
Yeah, I've had some procedures done as well, and it's almost bizarre. Yeah, because it literally felt
Hmm.
like it took no time almost, like because you remember being on the table and you remember the anesthesiologist, and then the next thing you know, you're like in another room and everything's over, and you're going, "How did that happen?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing. That is
Yeah,
really incredible.
they
So,
sedated me and I woke up the next day to just my sister. She was the last one standing. Everyone else
wow.
was forced to go home, and here I was thinking I was going to open my eyes and see everyone, and
Hmm.
no.
I'm sure it was great to still see your sister, though.
Oh yeah, trust me, it was like they almost didn't let her.
Oh
Uh,
no, why?
yeah, I would have almost woken up alone had they
Oh
not let
my.
her in. It's something about the ICU rules here. I don't
Mm,
know. They're just really ridiculous rules at that hospital. But yeah, my opened my eyes. My sister was the only one there. And she was asking me, like, do you remember anything? I was like, yeah, I remember everything. I'll tell you all about it. Trust me, it's gonna be awesome to tell you. But
wow.
still, like, I don't recommend it. Like, I got my answers, you know, like, but
The hard
it's
way.
not, yeah, it's not worth the price.
I'm sure it isn't. Like you said, I'm sure just the trauma on your family and everything. So that actually will lead to the next question. So obviously it was difficult with your family going through that. Um that kind of goes without saying. Now, as far as have you told them sort of what we're talking about now, the afterlife stuff, the NDE things? Have you, talked or chatted with them about this at all, or are they sort of unaware that you even went through these experiences?
Um, my partner knows majority of it. I tried to open up a little bit about it, but my mother-in-law was like, "Oh, because there was no light at the end of the tunnel, you were going to hell."
Oh, lovely.
I was like, no." But what can I do to change people's like beliefs, you know? I mean, it doesn't matter what people believe in. You can have whatever religion you want. I don't really care, but we're all going to go to the same place. Like,
Yes. Yeah,
so I
agreed.
don't really feel like I don't know. I mean, if I could just like comfort people, just like letting them know, like we're not these bodies. We're temporarily here. There is like an afterlife. That's where we originate from. We're gonna go back there someday. Like death is not something to be afraid of. In fact,
Mhm.
dying itself was not that bad. I'm sure
I
there
know that
really are
sounds
some bad
crazy.
deaths. Okay, like
Sure.
I can imagine dying
Violent ones
slowly,
would be bad.
painfully,
Yeah.
but it's temporary, and
Right.
you can always just leave your body before the pain even hits.
Yeah. That's I've heard that as well. So um okay, so they didn't so some people know, some people don't. Now has this changed anything as far as, the whole pixelation and the seeing, others and things like that? Did that shift at all since this happened?
No,
Okay, so they're
everything's
still
still the
there.
same.
Everything's still the same. Have you had I know this sounds a little weird, but have you actually had conversations about this experience with like your guide or anybody for that matter?
Um,
Like, did he say, Samantha, what were you thinking?
no,
No?
um, I don't know. I feel like it's more since I've woken up, it's been a little different with them. I get these moments where it's like I'm back to being that soul self. I'm not in this
Mm.
body anymore. It's not that I'm actually like experiencing it. Like I'm not like actually out of my body, but I have like these insights sometimes,
Oh,
and
like some retention.
my brain's trying to sabotage it. It's like it doesn't make sense. It's like these aren't my brain's memories. These are my soul's memories.
Oh,
Like
wow.
so it's like this clash going on inside. So I'll get these
Yeah,
insights sometimes, and my brain will be like, whatever, and dismiss that, throw it away.
I get it. Yeah, the brain is so good at just sabotage. Yeah, it's incredible how it loves to just, take over. And but I love the fact that it's almost like more, is it sort of, I guess maybe more real almost because you can connect a little more with that actual spiritual side.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
know
mean,
I'm
I don't
like
want to
beating
put
around
words
the
in your mouth.
bush when it comes to them. It's just I've spent my whole life like avoiding talking about them.
Oh, wow. Well,
It's not easy for me to open up about them.
I can imagine. I can't. I'm actually. I gotta say, like I said, like again, I can't believe how incredibly courageous and strong you are just for coming to this platform and talking to me about this stuff because, um, you opened up yourself a lot and people. I mean, it's not easy to be vulnerable sometimes. It's not easy to talk about certain things in our society because of the way we're conditioned and everything and like your mother-in-law, like you can, there's always somebody ready to chastise you for regardless. I always said like you could save somebody's life and there'd be somebody criticizing you how you did it. So yeah, so I really seriously I cannot thank you enough and tell you how courageous and strong you are for taking this opportunity to share this experience because wow, you may look young and I know you're almost 30, but wow, you are a tough girl in that body.
I
A
appreciate
strong
that.
spirit. Yeah, for sure. Um Okay, so did you have any other? Oh, I wanted to ask you another thing. I want to say it before it slipped my mind. Did you have a life review? Because I know that's a super common thing too. Did you get anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
Maybe
I
just
don't
you
think
weren't
I
far
really
enough.
made it that far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because usually the life review comes when you're like literally in the light. Yeah. So that's really interesting. Okay, so did you experience so has there been any other changes for you since you've been back? Like physical, emotional? I mean, obviously it was a really difficult and emotional experience for you and your family, but anything else like maybe anything maybe another gift opened up that you didn't realize you had or anything like that?
Um, no, not really.
No? Okay. So how did this experience um change your perception now? of this life here on Earth?
Well, I'm a little bummed about having to die again. So there's that. But it's like
I'm kind of bummed about that too, and I haven't even died once. So,
majority of people have they've asked me like why I did it, you know? Like why
mhm.
did I commit suicide? And going the curiosity route is just not a good enough answer for them. And what am I trying to say? Basically, I don't really have a reason to commit suicide again. I mean, I already have my answers. I know there's an afterlife. I know that I'm not this body. I know that this is a temporary like story that I'm just going to be living until it's finally over, you know? Um, I don't understand why anyone I mean, I can understand why they're paranoid, of course. You know, if it was like me in their position, I'd be a little paranoid too, of course.
Mhm.
But it's just I don't see any reason to do it again, you know?
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Yes, I think once is enough. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I can wait to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I know I'm gonna get to see it anyway at some point, so
Hmm.
it's not that I need to go rush it. It's just I was so desperate for the answers. I needed to know. I needed to know that what I'm experiencing is like legit, is not just all in my head, like I've been told my entire life.
Okay, see, that's what I was going to actually ask you was if you're seeing these spirits, wouldn't you naturally assume that there's an afterlife? But I see where you're coming from. You're seeing things and just thinking to yourself, am I making this all up? Is this all imaginary? I need to know.
And that's what I was told my entire life.
Of
When I
course.
started opening up about them, I was
Hmm.
constantly told it was all in my head. And then I was put on a
Wow.
bunch of drugs, therapy, like everyone thought I was going psychotic. It's like I don't show any signs of psychosis. I'm
Hmm.
not schizophrenic, you know. This is like this is just my experience.
Yes.
And I just so happen to be sensitive to them for some reason. It's
Right. Well, it's kind of, it's funny because I've always kind of been, always been mind blowing when people sort of like, get upset about certain things. And obviously some people do have hallucinations and things like that, usually related to mental illness. And there's lots of other things that go along with that and other signs and other behaviors and everything else. But when you're pretty clear headed and things like this happen, I mean, just because there are so many things going on that we are unaware of, in this field. I mean, that's why we have like microwaves and radio waves and, all these different auras and heat sensors and all this stuff, that this whole world exists right outside of our five senses. And the only way we can even know they're there is through technology. But yet, when somebody's perceptions change and maybe start picking up on, all these other things that are out there, we immediately label them as crazy, and it's kind of mind blowing to me. I mean, just because, we see reality and no one even knows what reality is. Everybody pretends, oh, well, it's matter. Well, okay, well, great. We gave it a name. Doesn't mean we know what it is or where it came from, but yeah, that's just my little rant. It's really upsetting that people get so tied up in the physical and everything. But we're conditioned very young, and that's the nice thing I think that is starting to change a little bit now. Is just people are being much more open minded than they used to be. I mean, no one even knew what an NDE was back in the 70s and 80s. I never heard of it. So
yeah, I've had like these spiritual experiences probably my entire life, and I've just had no one to tell anybody about it, you know.
hmm. Well, have you
Uh,
reached out on social media a little bit now? Obviously,
I try to, but it's like I get ignored.
really.
Yeah, no one wants to read my posts. I must not be putting a good enough title on.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a tough society out there when you're
I
trying to
know.
get things like that. But that is, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I mean, I myself, have you ever heard of IONS?
Yes, they have like a program here in Seattle.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would definitely do that because I hear great things about that group, and they're super supportive. And all of a sudden, you have a community of people that are very, have all gone through the same experience and can really help you a lot. So, yeah, stick with them. That's probably your best bet. And you're not going to get trolled, and you're not going to get people like bashing you like on Reddit and everything else, and
They
Facebook.
actually they have this research article I found. They did like a survey on people who have had like near-death experiences similar to mine or maybe a little different. But I was like, I've had like this feeling like I recently found out it was more like homesickness. Um, I was like, I had this like feeling I couldn't understand it. I was like, why do I feel this way? You know?
Oh,
And
homesickness for the
yeah,
spirit realm.
it's like
Yeah,
I was literally just almost there. Of course, I'm homesick.
yeah,
But
right.
that article, I read it from the Ians, and it's just like, wow, okay, so this is like other people just like me also experience this, and oh, they also have like, you know, all these other like list of symptoms after their near-death experience I have, and it just made me feel better about what I'm going
Sure.
through.
Yeah, I definitely recommend reaching out to them. It's a fantastic group from everything I've read, and really supportive. So I'm glad that you found them. And for those people that aren't aware, IAN stands for International Association of Near Death Studies. So that's the group, and it's basically all people that share the similar experience of having a near death experience. So, okay, so what is God to you? Now that you've gone through this, and now that you know that this is real, the things that you're experiencing, what do you feel God is?
I definitely felt him. I wouldn't say so much like I don't know. When I think of God, I start to think like a humanoid being up in the sky who's like watching over
Hmm.
everybody. He's just or
Source
whatever he
energy.
is. It's just energy. It's like
Hmm.
this creator, I guess. I don't know. I just felt like the further down the tunnel I got, like I could feel it. I could feel whatever this God is, and it was just like I really badly wanted to go there.
Yeah. Who wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay. Oh, go
not too
ahead.
sure on I'm really not too sure. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like anybody can believe in God, they can not
Hmm.
believe in God. We're all gonna go to the same place anyway.
True.
Like whatever God is to you, just
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. So wrapping up here, do you have any messages for people out there that might be watching this? Maybe people that are sort of in the same boat as you or have had similar experiences. Maybe they're just unsure, or have a lot of questions as well.
um, well, there's there's nothing to be afraid of. Like dying, death, like it's ev- we're growing up to believe like it's this terrifying experience, and when you witness it from someone else, like it can be traumatizing. Just it's not like this terrible thing that's made out to be. It's really not. I would not recommend just, killing yourself to find out like I did. Absolutely not. Um, but you will get your time. Like if you're feeling suicidal, like, reach out to a friend or a family member, you know, um, definitely definitely don't do what I did. Um, just it's really not that scary that it's made out to be. It really isn't. Like I don't know, if I could just comfort at least one person in this world who's feeling like that or has experienced like someone else dying, it's just know that they are, still around. They're in there is a place we go to. And it
Hmm.
doesn't matter what you believe in. We all go there. Like just I don't know. I hope I bring some peace to someone with my story.
I, I
That's really it.
I know you will for sure. And I felt the peace from you. And believe it or not, you have a very calming presence, a very peaceful presence. So that's what you seem to radiate to me anyway. And but most of all, I just want to thank you again for the courage that you have, the toughness on both sides, I guess. You're tough here and there, and just really for sharing and reaching out and talking to me today.
Well, thanks for letting me share my story.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe and like, and I'll see you next time.